In the dark underbelly of Lagos, where neon lights blend with the shadows of high-rise buildings, Kata carved out his empire. To most, he was a man of mystery. To his rivals, he was a shadow, a ruthless enforcer who moved in silence. Born into poverty in the back streets of Agege, he learned early that survival was a game with brutal rules. By the time he was 18, Kata had become the man his community looked to for justice, and the man his enemies feared most. His rise was far from ordinary. Kata's first big break came when he was approached by an underground syndicate that smuggled gold and precious stones out of Nigeria. The business was fraught with violence, betrayal, and under-the-table dealings with powerful officials. Kata, however, had a sharp mind and an uncanny ability to stay 3 steps ahead of everyone. Soon, he established his own gang, known as the Hawks, for their relentless grip on every lucrative corner of the city. But it wasn't long before his presence attracted attention. The cartel bosses from Europe saw potential in him, and one night, they summoned Kata to a secluded mansion on Victoria Island. In a room filled with smoke and faces hidden behind designer sunglasses, Kata faced the 4 dragons, men who ruled the global underworld. They offered him a deal: take control of the West African routes and oversee a multi-million-dollar trade of diamonds and artifacts. It was a dangerous game, one that would test his loyalty and cunning, but Kata accepted. For the Nigerian Don, it was all or nothing. Under Kata's command, the Hawks became the most powerful syndicate in West Africa. He developed a signature strategy. He called it Blackout. His gang would plunge an area into darkness by sabotaging the electricity grid, launching swift operations in the chaos. The authorities could only react after Kata's men were long gone, leaving only whispers and bullet shells behind. With each hit, Kata's reputation grew. His enemies started calling him Kata the Ghost, for no one could predict his moves, nor could anyone capture him. The police would arrive hours after the scene went cold, left with only the silent streets and a spray-painted symbol of a black hawk on walls, a mark of the Nigerian Don. One night, however, things took an unexpected turn. Kata received a tip that a large shipment of gold would arrive in Lagos harbor. The European bosses wanted him to secure it, but he wasn't the only one after it. A rival gang, the Red Cobras, led by the deadly Franco-Cameroonian Don Mbeki, was rumored to have its eye on the same shipment. Mbeki was known for his brutality and hunger for power. He wasn't one to negotiate. Kata's instincts flared. This was a trap, but he wasn't one to back down. He called on his trusted men, Okpara the strategist, and Jamal, a former soldier turned sharpshooter, to devise a counterattack. As the night darkened, Kata and his men surrounded the harbor. They used the blackout strategy once more, plunging the entire harbor into darkness. Shots echoed across the bay, as the Hawks and the Red Cobras clashed in a fiery battle. The bullets were ruthless, and the water splashed as bodies dropped. Then, at the heart of the fray, Kata spotted Mbeki. They locked eyes, and in that moment, the harbor became their battlefield. As they approached each other, Mbeki swung his machete with deadly intent, but Kata was too quick, dodging the blade and striking with calculated punches. They grappled, but Kata's training, honed in the brutal streets, gave him the edge. With one final blow, he overpowered Mbeki, leaving him on the ground as the Cobras fled, leaving the shipment to Kata's victorious Hawks. News of Kata's victory spread across the city, his reputation now unbreakable. But he knew that in the world of shadows, a single misstep could bring him down. As he stared out over the Lagos skyline that night, he knew he'd won more than just a shipment of gold. He'd earned the loyalty of his men and the fear of his enemies. With the Red Cobras crushed and the Europeans backing him, Kata was now the undisputed Nigerian Don. But in his heart, he knew the fight was far from over. He ruled the shadows, but he could never let his guard down. In the world he'd chosen, there was only one rule: survive. And for as long as he drew breath, that was exactly what Kata, the ghost, planned to do. The sun rose over Lagos, casting a golden hue over the bustling city. Kata stood atop a skyscraper, reflecting on his journey. The streets below buzzed with life, unaware of the silent battles fought in the shadows. His rise from the alleys of Agege to becoming the most feared and respected figure in West Africa was a testament to his cunning and resilience. But with power came a price. Kata realized that true strength lay not in fear, but in respect and loyalty. He envisioned a future where his empire could protect the vulnerable rather than exploit them. As he watched the sun rise, he made a silent vow to use his influence to uplift his community, ensuring his legacy was more than just a name whispered in fear. Turning away from the skyline, Kata knew the path ahead would be fraught with challenges. But with the heart of a warrior and the mind of a strategist, he was ready to reshape not just his destiny, but the future of Lagos itself. The ghost was now a guardian, and his story was far from over. As Kata's empire grew, so did the need for someone by his side who truly understood him. Among his loyal followers was Marie, a remarkable woman whose wisdom and strength had helped him navigate some of his darkest challenges. Marie wasn't just one of his most trusted allies. She was his confidant, the one who saw through the tough exterior to the man underneath. With her compassion and quiet resilience, Marie became a steady presence in his life, slowly awakening a part of him he'd long forgotten. Their bond deepened, forged not just in battles but in late-night conversations, laughter, and dreams shared. Marie believed in Kata's potential to rise beyond the shadows that had defined his life, and she inspired him to think of a future outside of crime. It wasn't long before Kata realized that he didn't just trust Marie, he loved her. They eventually married in a quiet ceremony, away from the city's prying eyes. In Marie, Kata found a partner who shared his desire to leave the world of shadows and violence behind. With her by his side, he knew it was time to make a real change. Determined to build a peaceful life, Kata began negotiating with rival gang leaders, settling long-standing disputes, and offering them new paths forward. Many of his former associates joined him, inspired by the vision of a life unburdened by danger and revenge. Together, they dismantled the Hawks, making peace with former rivals and investing in their community. The once feared Hawk symbol became a symbol of hope, marking youth centers, job programs, and safe spaces for local kids. Now Kata spends his days working alongside Marie, advising young people to avoid the path he had taken. He speaks to them about his journey, telling them how love and self-respect saved him from a life of regret. Kata's story became more than a cautionary tale. It became a story of redemption and the power of change. In Marie, he had found more than love. He had found his salvation, and together they built a legacy that would inspire generations to come.